everybody. Welcome to yet another version of Thursday Title Talk. I'm Drew.
And I'm Amy.
We are your hosts coming to you live from our studios here in Palos Heights at 11757 Southwest Highway. We are so thankful and happy to have you guys joining us on, what is today, Amy? April Fool's Day.
It is April Fool's Day.
Oh boy.
It's sure April Fool's Day.
It felt like this whole week has been April Fool's Day.
I feel like this whole year has been April Fool's Day.
Oh yeah, so great, so great. So we're again thanking you guys for joining us here. We are excited and happy to tell you guys about some really great things that are up and coming. Today's a big day for us with Inspired Title Gives Back. We'll talk about that a little bit in a little while. A lot of things are starting to really move and materialize for us.
The little snowball is starting to roll.
It's kind of crazy, right?
Yeah.
It's starting to go down the hill, and I want to announce that we're part of the TikTok world now. I mean, our new TikTok star is right there.
We are TikToking. We have 1,000 views on 2 videos.
I just call it talking, but we're TikToking. You guys gotta look up Inspired Title on your TikTok.
My life is officially embarrassing.
I'm telling you, it's not. It just again shows another side of us about having fun and doing some crazy things.
My life is so embarrassing.
Yeah.
This is what my life is.
But you know what? It's fun because we're real. So we're thankful for that, and you're doing a great job with that. So I totally want you guys to.
It was totally my idea. Not
Amy, what else is today? Today's also opening day.
It is opening day.
And we are absolutely representing our team, so congratulations for you guys to whatever team it is that you're rooting for, but baseball is back.
Except if you're a Cubs fan. Sorry.
Exactly. And that is exciting because obviously last year at this time we were kind of going through that process of wondering, is there going to be baseball? What's it going to look like? Now it looks like they're going to play the full season out, barring any craziness or...
If Eloy was,
playing... What a dumb thing that was. That saddens me a lot. Poor guy. But we are supporting the teams that...
At least we have a rap star, though.
We do have a rap star.
So, we gotta...
The Bulls have a rap star, too. I think it's a Chicago thing.
It's a Chicago thing.
Right?
Look up Mankata's music.
Yeah,
It is some good music dancing.
Johan Mankata not only plays baseball, he doubles as your rapper, so...
Pretty good. Exciting. I would suggest...
I mean, we can maybe do that. Inspired Title rapping. No. I don't think we're going to do that.
I quit.
It was just an idea.
It was
just an idea, albeit bad.
I'm going to politely ignore that one.
Albeit bad, it was an idea, so what can I say? But again, we thank you guys for joining us for Thursday Title Talk. We're going to get right into it. And now we'll go into some... We were talking, we had the opportunity to talk to one of our attorneys and clients last week and partner with me in our City of Chicago project, Faisal. And he was going to be here today. Schedules didn't work out for him, so he apologized and said that he would definitely get back. But we definitely want to talk about the CARES Act, as he was mentioning before, and what that looks like, and kind of how that applies to you guys, and especially with everything that's going on in the lending world, and just with everything that's going on in the real estate world.
Right.
But so what we figured we would do today is talk about some common terms and some common title terms that you might hear, closing terms that you might hear. When you go to apply for a mortgage, these are some things you might hear. So we're going to go through some maybe terms that are definitions, so to help you guys kind of understand a little bit more about those things. So, Amy, you want to go first? Do you want me to go first? How do you want to?
I think you have the list, and then we can just kind of bodily and talk about what all this stuff is.
Absolutely.
Maybe?
Absolutely. Okay. So first one is something that Amy does on a daily basis is title searching and such. And one of the terms you might hear from an attorney or at a closing when you're buying a property, you might hear the term cloud on title.
And this is something I will admit I've never heard up until we started talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that it's a little bit older because that's how they used to kind of define this or describe it. It's basically any kind of an irregularity that has, or a claim that may disallow you from selling or buying that property.
And it's weird because right now what we call them is like it's a title claim, or it's like there's a lien on title or something like that. So those are the words that I was used to hearing over the last, a couple years. But when he said cloud, I was like,
Right, it's an encumbrance on title, and one of the things that amongst many others that you do is define the title with all the encumbrances on it, so that before we issue our final title policy, they're able to be dealt with.
Correct.
They're able to be waived and cleaned up.
Sometimes the day of closing.
Yeah.
And sometimes 3 weeks before.
There is no magic in doing that.
There is no magical time limit. There's no magical, you have to have this payoff right now. It's kind of go with the flow and hope for the best.
Just gets done at the time. So another term you might hear, and this is something that Amy's pretty familiar with as well, is commitment. And
not like an engagement commitment, not like a
but along the lines of it's
what
a contract between it's a contract for the title company to ultimately say that we are going to issue our final title insurance policy, and it will have some standard exceptions that it will contain, and then there are some other exceptions that will also be in there. However, many of those will get cleaned up at the closing, so therefore that the final policy is issued clean of any of those encumbrances that I talked about prior to. So the commitment is just the agreement, the contract, if you will, between the parties to issue our final title insurance policy on behalf of you, the buyer.
Yeah, the title commitment. The Schedule A usually will just tell you, if it's a cash deal, if there's a lender, who the buyer is, who the seller is. So the first page kind of just gives you a outline of the parties in the transaction. Then the Schedule B goes into the liens that Drew was talking about: taxes, mortgages, anything that shows about a survey, anything that shows if it's a planned unit development. And then Schedule C is just legal description. So that's kind of how it gets outlined.
Right on. So now something else that the folks might hear is the word endorsement. And the endorsement, there are many of them that apply in the title industry.
50?
And they all pertain to different things that will be also it's an addition to the title. It's something that will be added to either protect you and cover more and define different terms as to why that endorsement is being issued. A common one is the encroachment endorsement.
Encroachment endorsement. Usually it's the lenders that are requiring endorsements. Location endorsement. The location endorsement is the one that a lot of times lenders were, like you said, the encroachment endorsement. The EPL, there's a lot of that.
Yeah, and those are standard ones, right?
Yeah.
Condos, if it's a condo, exactly.
So usually it's by the lender. Sometimes there will be endorsements to insure over things on title.
And
that's
something,
an owner's policy.
Exactly. And something, I mean, it ultimately, simplifying it to you guys, it's ultimately expanding or changing the coverage that you're going to get that is, within that title policy.
And usually they are paid for. 98% of the time there's a charge for them. But yeah, those were endorsements.
Next term, deed. There are a lot of them. I'm not going to go through all of them.
No, we can't right now.
But ultimately, a deed is between a grantor and a grantee to transfer real property between the parties. Okay, the grantor is the one giving the interest. They're giving their interest in that property to the grantee.
Who's receiving it?
Who's receiving? Correct. Obviously, there are.
Oh my gosh.
Several types, and they all have different, varying meanings. But it's literally a document that transfers the interest in real property between parties.
I feel like the one we've been dealing with more so has been quitclaim deeds, because refinances have been such like a huge thing right now. So do you want to give a really quick breakdown of the rules, like between if somebody's on title, can they be a borrower? If they're not on title, can they not be a borrower? Just for because I know refinances are something that's. So I know that if there's somebody that is on title that is not being listed as a borrower on a loan, they still have to sign a document to waive their homestead rights.
Right, and homestead rights is another definitive term that is out there, which is really differs by state.
Yeah.
But in Illinois, if you occupy a property, you have homestead rights.
Right.
You have a valued right to own and occupy that property.
Is it a certain amount of time?
for the...
Like, is there a certain amount of time you have to be living in a property, or do you have to be like listed on a deed?
You just have to own the property.
Okay.
I'm sorry, not own, you just have to live in the property.
Got it, okay.
Because as you know, a quitclaim deed can have John Smith, a married man,
Right.
right?
Right.
Well, his spouse has homestead rights. She's not listed, but she has.
But we know she's there. Yeah.
And we know she's there,
For
so
sure.
she has to waive her homestead rights, which is the interest in that property before it gets conveyed away. So.
And then,
yes.
like, could you borrow on a property that you're not on a deed for?
You can be on a loan
Mm-hmm.
without being an owner of the property.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
That was just another thing that
Yes.
sometimes, there's questions of, do I need to quit claim this person onto this property because they're signing as a borrower?
No.
So the correct answer would be no, that does not need to happen. Sometimes people will do it like if they get married or if, last name changes, something like that, they will use a refinance as an opportunity to add a spouse or somebody else on title, but it is not.
It's done every day
yeah.
because what happens is maybe one of the spouses has stronger credit, and reality is that, hey, I don't want to utilize. I'm not strong enough to actually apply for this mortgage and be granted it. So therefore, either or of the spouse can be the sole borrower of the
Right.
money. They're both
Right.
on title. You can have husband and wife being both on the mortgage and only have one on title.
Yeah.
It's fine too.
So that's okay. But it's our kind of job to see, depending on how a property is held, what's happening around it, just so that we know who and what the parties are in the
And
transaction.
the deed really indicates all that. And
Yeah.
Amy's conversation first about the quitclaim deed, it's the lowest and least giving of deeds. In literally a quitclaim deed, QIT.
Not
right?
quick claim like you might think it should be.
QIT
The quit
claim
claim.
deed literally says whatever is mine, I give to you. So if you don't own something, like I can quit claim this to Amy. I don't own this. The Brooklyn Bridge. I don't
That's your
own it.
favorite one. You
Right.
use that one.
I don't own the Brooklyn Bridge. So I quit claim my interest in the Brooklyn Bridge to Amy. What did Amy get?
The Brit.
Nothing. If I had
Was
interest
Jill.
in it, she would. But the fact that I don't have any interest in it, so that quitclaim deed is whatever I have, the ownership of mine, I convey to you. But if I don't have any ownership in the specific piece, I'm not
You're
getting
not giving
anything.
away,
And that's where we start to see some issues and
Well,
trouble,
messy, yeah.
because even though somebody quitclaimed something to somebody else, if they never owned it, that somebody else may not know.
No.
So they say, well, he gave me the property. Yeah, but he never owned
He
it.
gave you property he didn't own.
Sorry.
Trouble.
And that's our responsibility and our job to look out for that and watch for that.
Yeah.
So now
Sorry
we'll
for
go
that
on.
segue.
How about POA?
Powers of attorneys. So I think these are more popular now than they used to be.
And I think a lot of that is because of the COVID, because of the fact that people are doing things from a distance or out of state, out of town, etc.
So what powers of attorney allow you to do is it's pretty much what it sounds like. It gives you attorney the right to sign for these closings under your name. Or like you're giving them authority to sign documents on your behalf.
Perfect.
So, rewording.
Yeah. So it ultimately is where a person grants another person the authority to act as attorney in fact on behalf of their business that is disclosed in the entire document that says, for instance, I grant Amy power of attorney to sign on my behalf to transfer the real estate property known as 11757 Southwest Highway. So I can't be at the closing, I can't attend, I can't sign any of the documents.
Right.
I've granted that document, through that document I've granted Amy the right to sign on my behalf.
And they're usually for a limited time.
They usually have a start date and an end date.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I think sometimes it's because people are buying and selling a house, usually within a couple months of each other, so they
Right.
might make the power of attorney long enough to get those deals
Correct.
done, and then nothing besides that. So it's not just because you signed off on this, the person can't sign every property or everything.
Power of attorney is a very, very strong and powerful document, but it's important to understand all the terms that are in it.
They're
And-
lengthy.
Yeah, and literally you can be as detailed or laxed as you want within that document, but we as the title company are going to thoroughly read it and make sure that what is happening on behalf of you, the seller, is being executed correctly by the power of attorney. Because the power of attorney can come in and say, well, I just cleared out all the bank accounts and everything like that. Well, wait a minute. That's not okay.
Right.
It only said that you had the ability to sign for the specific property in the documents that pertain to that. It had nothing to do with the bank.
Yeah.
So really be cautious as to what's written in there, what you want in there. Make sure it's really spelled out, because those things, once complete, they're gospel.
Is that why limited powers of attorneys came about?
Limited powers of attorney are exactly that, limiting you to within the language of the document.
Yeah.
It limits you to specific things within the document that you can and cannot do.
And now it's good to see that they've been getting recorded more than they used to.
Right. They put them of record.
Yeah.
So I think title folks can follow the chain of events going.
Exactly.
How did this deed go from somebody that I don't recognize their name to here, because they're not in the chain?
Right.
Well, as a power of attorney, they signed on behalf.
Correct.
Of.
So it helps make our job easier.
It does. Not everybody does it, but it does.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Cool.
So I'll give you one here, PITI. When you go to your bank and you're going to get a mortgage, they talk about PITI, and these are terms that I think you guys, especially during the refi world, I think these are things that are important for you to understand and know, because they're just readily spoken by the industry professionals, but it doesn't mean that everybody knows what they are. So
it's principal, interest, taxes, insurance.
Correct.
So can you use it in a sentence for the universe out there?
Yeah, for sure. When somebody they're going for their loan documents and everything, and your mortgage broker or your lender will say, hey, your PITI is $1,000 a month. And
your face goes,
right.
It sounds good. My PITA? Great.
Because because when usually people go, well, how much is my mortgage? They don't necessarily know what is it comprised of. They say, how much is my mortgage a month? And they'll say $1,000. Okay, well, how much is my insurance? Oh, well, that's a part of that $1,000 already, because it's already put in there.
Right.
How much are my taxes? Well, if you're escrowing your taxes, it's also in there.
Right.
So it again.
Not escrow your taxes.
I mean, well,
it was.
There's a lot of that, and that's a debate, and that's a big question that people have, because you save money by escrowing your taxes because the bank gets to utilize your money. If you think about it, it's pretty logical.
Yep.
You're putting they're asking you to put up a prorated amount for a period of time, and again, the bank floats that money until they have to, and they use it in their investment world.
It seems like it might be awesome because your mortgage is $200 less by not escrowing your taxes, but then you get that bill in the mail that's like, okay, now you owe us $3,800.
Exactly.
Oh, but what?
I would say for the disciplined people, that's okay.
Right.
For the less disciplined, if you want to set it and forget it, escrowing your taxes into your mortgage makes sense. And I'll tell you, and I don't know if you've recognized this yet in your time in your new home, but if your taxes increase, your lender sends you a letter and says, hey,
one of those
you have a couple choices. Your taxes have gone up, so you can either pay that increase now, or your new mortgage payment to compensate for that shortage is now going to be this, and it will go up. But on the same breath, if it decreases, and it does, because people go in for, they go in for tax challenges and assessments to change this.
And exemptions. My parents just got the senior.
As you hit certain ages, for sure.
Yeah, so they actually, that was the quickest I've seen Cook County do anything.
Right.
I think my parents got there 2 weeks later, after they applied for their senior exemption.
That is fast.
It was so fast, and I was like, what? Sorry.
So they come back and say, you are overfunded in your escrow account, so now your mortgage is going to go down to this number, and here's the check of the additional money. So I mean, they're not going to hold it. I mean, they're bound by the FDIC that money is got to be moved around correctly.
And what's an escrow account for the universe? Because you just use it in such a normal, we'll hold that money in escrow, or that money.
Correct.
So
an escrow is in the terms of what we do for a title company. We're a title escrow agent.
Correct.
When you talk about an escrow account for a bank, the similarity is that it's a third party that is ultimately acting as a transactional party in the deal. So when you come to Inspired Title, we act as an escrow agent on behalf of you guys and the lender, and to facilitate the deal. So we're going to move the monies and the documents between the parties and make sure that everything is being signed and everything is being executed and then recorded and then money being dispersed. So we are an escrow agent handling money for that period of time.
Correct.
Okay?
Correct.
An escrow in your
bank
account where they're holding escrow is they're literally holding back money from your monthly payment into a separate account for when that tax bill comes due. Even though you get a copy of it, so does the bank, and they make the payment on that date.
Yep.
So when you get your tax bill in the mail and you freak out, go, oh my God, I owe this? If you're escrowing your taxes, no. They've been withholding it from your $1,000 a month payment in a separate account, so they
can pay it on.
So that literally, it happens. People go, uh-oh, and they write a check and they pay that amount, and so does the bank, and now it's overpaid. They don't necessarily just apply that to the next...
No. You have to try to get a refund then.
Right. The next installment is not just paid for. You got to try to go get a refund.
Which is a pain in the booty.
In Cook County, it is a long process.
Yeah.
So just understand the difference between...
I saw one of those tax bills come in, because taxes, they were due beginning of March.
Right.
So I remember...
Twice a year in Cook County.
Yeah, and I remember coming in like February, and I was like, for one split second, I was like... And then I was like, oh, thank God, this is why we escrow taxes.
Right, because it's a big nut to right out of the gate.
Right, for sure.
And I just misspoke. I said that it's twice a year in Cook County. It's twice a year in Illinois.
I was going to say...
All the different counties, it's just they have them at different times.
And I think Indiana, it's...
Yep, they have twice.
Yeah.
So Cook County is March and, is it August now? Have they moved it?
I think they moved...
September?
I thought it was September.
Okay. So March and September, and then do you know the collar counties like DuPage and those are now the benefit of those is they're directly half. They're literally if your taxes are $4,000, it's $2,000 each installment.
Cook
County, they take 55% of last year's bill and it's on the first installment, and then 45% on the second. Why? Because they can. It's Cook County. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, you sit there and you go, why is this tax bill so much higher than this one? Because it's 55% of last year. Yay!
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Thank you for that fun fact.
Yep, there you go. I mean, it's not a fun fact, but it's some knowledge. So we did okay, good. We did those there. We did escrow. That's good. So how about let's go to closing? A closing is literally the facilitating of that process.
Closing
it's
day.
The final step, right?
Different than opening day.
Opening day!
So closing is like the last step in completing this transaction that you've been working so hard for. It's when all the parties come together and you either refinance your house or you transfer your property to somebody else. And super happy, exciting days that we get to witness here being closings.
It is really, they are enjoyable days. I mean, these last handful, we've had this week we've had a handful of folks in here.
We had a handful of closings,
and buy-sells versus the refi. Well,
it's so different. Oh my God.
It's just such a great feeling to talk to these folks and watch them just dance out of here and be so happy for going to that new place. And the big question is not that they just wired in thousands and thousands of dollars. They want to know where are the keys.
Yeah.
Where's the garage opener? Where's the keys?
Yeah.
The money part of it is just whatever. It's there.
Because it's something that you've probably been thinking about and talking about and doing and getting ready for months.
Right.
And then finally, you sign the last time, you're like, done.
Such a big
give me my keys now. Let me go.
Yeah, love it. So, the closing process is really the final step, and it is literally where all the documents are handled by us, the title company, and making sure everything is signed between all the parties, and then we send them out to record, and then we issue our final title policy once we get those things back.
Yeah, and something people don't really know or see is the behind the scenes of why do closings sometimes take 3 hours and why do sometimes closings take an hour?
Yeah, that's a good point.
So obviously cash closings are always going to be quicker.
Yeah.
So those are an hour tops. It's in and out. And then sometimes with these lender deals, so lenders are busy right now. Like they're doing as many closings as we're doing. So what sometimes we have to do is the closers have to wait for something they call funding approval or funding authorization.
Right.
And so what this means is the closers will scan certain documents to this lender, and they have to make sure they have all the signatures, everything done the way it needs to be done before the bank can say, okay, go ahead and disperse on this.
Right.
So sometimes there's a handful of banks that they have no funding conditions. They have no authorization needed, and there's some other banks that we've had situations where people have gone to lunch in the middle of closings, and then why is this closing taking 3 hours?
So true.
Well, because the person that we're waiting for authorization from stepped out of the office and will be back in half an hour. So it's not always somebody's fault. It's not always somebody's issue, but it does happen sometimes. So I just thought it'd be a good thing to kind of talk about it.
Yeah, I think that's probably where title companies maybe get the hardest scrutiny is during that process when the process takes longer.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, man, that closing took 3 hours. It didn't take 3 hours because Inspired Title did anything wrong.
No.
Or didn't do anything correct. And it really didn't take 3 hours because the
Anyone did
lender
anything
did anything wrong. It's just the process sometimes.
Right.
They are inundated with a ton of work. And they want to make sure that they look through all the documents and they
Because
don't
their job's
miss
important.
anything.
Yeah, for
Right.
sure.
So they're just protecting all the parties. And once they give funding authorization, and if something is wrong, it's over.
Yeah.
I mean that process is ridiculously hard to
It
unravel.
is awful.
So
I witnessed one of our closers scan over documents in 45 minutes and sit there for an hour and a half,
right.
and nobody can give an answer as to how long. And it's once in a great while it'll be like, oh, you missed a signature here, can you do
That
that?
happens.
And it for sure happens. But it's just it depends on the bank, it depends on the closer, it depends
Depends on
who's
the attorney.
reviewing your
The attorney
packets, the
is literally
attorney.
describing all these documents
Uh-huh.
to the buyer, and if the buyer has a question or doesn't understand something, they're taking more time.
Yeah.
Some attorneys are just in and they fly through the stuff, have them sign. I don't know. I mean, I don't know
which
how
is
I feel
better.
about that, but at the end of the day, you got to walk out of there understanding and feeling comfortable. So if your attorney's taking a few extra minutes with you, understand that closing is going to take some time.
Yeah.
There's nothing. It's no big deal.
And now we have these Zoom calls. We have there's two in the last month that I remember, just an attorney calling.
Yeah, it's kind of practice.
And especially with COVID now, it's like, okay, now do you see
Right.
the line?
Yep.
Well, yeah. So that's gonna take a little bit of time to kind of explain it, and
No doubt. No doubt.
so yeah, it's just kind of it's I promise you that it's no one's fault personally. It's
Yeah.
just
be patient.
Yeah.
And know that all parties are working to get you in and out of
and
there
it's
as well.
exciting, and it's an
is
exciting
exciting.
time, and you probably
Yeah.
maybe will only have to buy or sell 3 houses in your life.
Hopefully, absolutely.
So
Yeah.
just take that and enjoy every moment of it.
No, that's good. That's
Yeah.
good. So we hope you guys were able to, maybe jot down some notes and learn a little bit more about
Email us, call us. I love talking
Yeah.
about this stuff.
definitions, terms, things that you don't understand.
Be
That's
happy
what
to help
we're
you
here
out
for.
any way we can.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. Please feel free. I mean, we are your friendly title company, and we want to be a helpful part in your transaction.
Yeah.
We want to help you guys with questions and concerns because this is what
And
we
the
do.
process.
So
We
it's-
live it, we breathe it, so want to help you out as much as we can.
No doubt. So that will conclude the title talk part of our show. Wrap it up, kid. What do you think?
I think I like this. This was fun.
This was good.
This was a little bit different.
This was good.
So yeah, this is Inspired Title. Remember, we're located at 11757 Southwest Highway, also with an office or two in Indiana,
Right on.
St. John, and yeah.
We are happy that you guys join us every week. We are thankful for you guys as our listeners. We are thankful for you guys as our clients and customers.
We do it for you.
Absolutely. Inspired Title, your title company for the ages. So thanks for listening in, and stay
Tune in,
tuned. We'll
yeah.
probably be back here
Probably
sometime
some fun this afternoon.
and we'll have some Band-Aids on our arms and have some more conversation real quick to share with you. So until
Yes.
then, take care, everybody.
Bye guys, take care.
Bye-bye.